What's up, YouTubers? Evan here for Grips.com, coming at you with the final installment of how to beat out 20,000 players in a free roll tournament on Pokerstars and add $250 cash to your bankroll. If you haven't yet watched parts 1, 2, and 3, I would encourage you to do so you can see how we got to this point and what it takes to make it here, because, well, this last part, it's probably going to be pretty fast. We're talking six-handed. Average stack is pretty shallow. We got all the chips. We're running good. We're going to run everyone over. It's going to be a piece of cake. But it took a lot of thinking and a lot of discipline and a lot of different things to get to this point in the tournament. So I'd encourage you to check out those parts. If you don't want to, no big deal. I can't make you. And I would also encourage anyone who's really serious about their tournament game, who's watching this video more for the educational proponent than the entertainment proponent of it, to check out my 10-part MTT strategy guide, which will teach you everything you need to know to become a successful MTT player. I went ahead and asked TemplarArt, aka Trustin Bernardes, what helped him the most from that series. And I'm just going to read through. Anyone who saw part 1 has heard this, but I want to reiterate it again because it's really important to learn from what other people have learned from and add those elements to your game to make yourself really strong. So as far as what helped him, so many things, it's ridiculous. The discipline to fold big hands while in early position is very important. We saw him fold king queen and even ace jack earlier in this tournament just because his position was bad. The power of min re-raising on the flop shows so much power, it's ridiculous. And a next big thing is to take advantage on the different bubbles. Part 3 and part 2, we saw Templar just obliterate the bubbles and just chip up so huge. That was because we can pick up a ton of blinds and antes because they're so big, and other people just didn't want to play back. They want to wait for the next pay jump, and I think we'll probably see that on this final table closeout too. And the most important thing that he learned was how to dominate a table once you have the chip lead, and I think that's what we're about to see in this part. So let's waste no more time, right? Let's get right into it and see just what it takes to go from 0 to $253.87 hero here on Pokerstars. We'll be going through every hand of this six-handedness. You're gonna want to be raising our aces on the button for sure, especially when we have the chips. And I won't spoil it for you. I know what place everyone finishes in. And I'll tell you that the guys who make the top 3, they earned it. They play well and they deserve it. So pay attention to everyone. See if you can guess who's going to make it. So we have an open with ace 10 and a reshove from a 13 big blind stack, 12 big blind stack. Pretty standard for innocent to call off here with ace 10 because striker can be reshipping with a lot of Broadway hands, a lot of different aces, as well as those big pairs and also some medium pairs. And Incentu needs 40% equity to call. You guys want to figure out what kind of range striker has to have for Incentu to have 40% with ace 10? Go ahead, plug some numbers into Poker Stove, see what you get. Striker holds, and the chips even out a little bit, which is great for us because it means we can apply more pressure. For a big blind shove from Gambinator gets through. I think we could raise that queen 5 suited. We got chips. Can apply some pressure. But I think Templar waits till he gets a little bit more shorthanded to start really swinging the big stack around. And for 8 blinds, I think we can call off with king 10 here. I've seen Gambino has shoved quite a few hands, so he's going to be shoving all his kings. He's going to be shoving worse 10s. We're going to be in pretty good shape. Or we could be dominated. But that's one of those cases where you can make a call that's correct against someone's range, and they happen to have a part of their range that you're not ahead of in this particular hand, and people are like, fuck, I made a bad call because look at what hand I ran into. Well, this individual trial doesn't necessarily matter. What's important is what they would do with all of their holdings and how you do against that entire range. So min raise the ace 10. Pretty good flop. Let's see how we can extract value here. Might even be a strong enough flop to check back, or we could see bet really small, like 200K. Just try to encourage our opponent to give us some action. If we're gonna try to induce some bluffs, we should probably call and let our opponent keep bluffing. And yeah, now we're gonna give him the bad news. That's so fucking sick. Pretty much all the money went in when we were ahead, right? Nice hand, Templar. Really unlucky for striker. But really, he should have just shoved it all in pre-flop on his stack size there. What did he get? He had under 20 big blinds, facing a button open with pocket eights. He just got a reshove there, and we would have called, and then we just run a flip, and yeah, it would have been a really sick run out, but he didn't play his hand ideally. Maybe that's why he got punished. We got a shove, king jack suited, snap off king 10. I guess he felt he was ahead of a open shoving range of 6 big blinds. Chop it up. Pocket 10s, we ain't folding. Raising with intentions to call. Innocent. What are you limping? Madonna. And again, we got a shove. Nice call with aces. Oh my god. That's really gross. Maxim running pure. And he's probably saying, well, the guy sucked up for a chop earlier. He deserved it, you know. I was due. It's fair. Now we're even. You aren't even. You're a little bit ahead. Now we're starting. Raising those aces. 5-handed, any ace is good. Especially when you have the chips. Probably open that 4-7 on the button. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we have all in with 4-3. Guy overbets the pot. You just put them all in. And this guy check calls off at the 10 high. It's so funny. Like, Maxim should just rip this flop. Because, well, we saw. You go for the check raise and you just get put all in and you're calling off with 10 high. Meanwhile, people are just punting it in with 4 high. Gotta love free rolls. And flush is good. Got Broadway. We raise. Don't need to raise all our hands. 6-8 off's a little weak. And we get a flip. Ace King is going to hold against Jack Queen. I think the reship's fine. Just unlucky to run into a hand. And for less than a min raise, we're definitely going to flick a chip in here with Queen 4 suited. And now this guy's limp shoving. 1.2 to win 2.4. We're getting 2 to 1. Probably call off here. This guy has shown he's wild, shoving it in with 3-4 off. But like, even if he's got ace king, we're getting the right price. And the fact that he just like limp shoved instead of open shoving means he could definitely have some bullshit in his range too. So I think I like a call here. He actually has the kings, but we got the trips. So see you later. And you guys can see, yeah, we got lucky here. But even if we lose this pot, we're still going down to 4-handed because Gambino's going to get busted. So we get a pay jump. And we're still going to have 17 million. And the difference between 17 million and 20 million really isn't that big. The significant thing that happened here is that we busted 2 players. Now we're playing 3-handed. Guaranteed 120 bucks. Trying to get that 253.87 up top. And second place is 178. So should be fun seeing some 3-handed play. I'd like to see us raise a lot. King 7. Apply the pressure. These guys are just playing passive. Raise. Oh. Strong bet. Actually, no. You only bet a third of the pot. You got 2 overcards. It's the bubble. Let's shove. Yeah. Let's put him to the test. It's a great spot because there's a pretty significant pay jump between second and third. So innocent, you know, he probably doesn't want to go out before Maxim. And this bet he did here looks kind of like a weak blocker bet. And wow. Whoa. What the fuck? I mean, Templar must have called for the pot. That shit's insane. How is that just not all in pre-flop? All in pre-flop with those hands? I get that. Even on like a little bubble, but the fact that they managed to get it in that particular way is just insane. Wow, you bluffed it off. Let's look at that one again. So we've got a limp and a call. Checks with mid pair, checks back. The wheel draw. Min raises the turn, repping something, and then over shoves over this min bet. This is crazy. So Maxim's like inducing with the 9 high flush, and Innocent's just a total spaz who can't handle it when people bet small into him. Very interesting. Very interesting. It shows the importance of dynamics and how you can abuse your opponents. And we're definitely calling here. Limp shove. We got 2 8s for like 20 blinds. Never fold. Sick. Nice hold. In the dirtiest fashion possible. And now it's heads up for the title. So we're guaranteed 180. Playing for 85 bucks. We have a 4-1 chip lead. And we probably have about a 12-1 skill lead. So should be good. And we saw from part 1 that Templar knows about his profitable shoves. His profitable open shoves. And when you get to heads up, if you don't know how to play heads up, you can just get what's called a Nash equilibrium, which will tell you which hands are profitable shoves and which hands you have to call off with against someone who's playing the Nash equilibrium strategy. And that saves you the worry of having to like figure out how to play post flop and avoiding all those tough situations. And you can just shove and reshove profitably and then just hope for the best with the gambling like we're hoping here. Ah, sick turn. You guys are like, man, that's going to be a really short video. All right, so we're still ahead, and we're still going to play an aggressive button strategy. Maxim is looking like he's not adjusting too well. We're just raise and take. Wow. Maxim has no clue about size. And I like a call here. Templar, why are you trying to shut him out? And if you are going to raise him, why don't you just like raise him small? Give him room to spaz out over the top. There's no need to shut him out with a hand like this. Maybe if you have like a deuce 3 of hearts or a king jack of hearts, you want to make a play like this. But with top 2, total lock and position, the guy's betting into you as a 3-better, I think you want to keep him around. See, perhaps Templar thought he had a really strong hand with that min 3-bet pre-flop and then this c-bet, so he wanted to make his hand look weak. But I think when you're that strong, you got to give him room. And I don't see why we left our strategy of min raising here. If your opponent's going to fold to a lot of your min raises, there's no reason to start limping. You just keep on raising. There we go. Back to our good old ways. And we'll give him 1 every once in a while. But he's going to give us about 5 for every 1. 2-barrel? 2-barrel. I know we have 2-pair, but wow. I was going to say I don't understand the raise. But I keep forgetting it's a free roll where people call really wide. Lesson of the day. When you make a strong hand in a free roll, don't be afraid to really bet big and try to extract a lot of value because people are willing to call really wide. Back to our 5-1 chip lead. And back to our min raising strategy. And no, we will not call off with king 3 suited. We probably call off with king 10. We probably call off with king jack. But we're not just going to let our opponent back into the game. Just because he's short doesn't mean you have to call him off with like marginal hands. Because you don't want to let them back in. You want to make them claw and grind and work their way back in. Like Maxim's trying to do. And then we just steal, 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 walk, steal, steal, get 3-bet, call, peel, steal. It's the real deal. And that's a strong enough hand. Call a big raise. If we flop top pair with queen jack there, we're going with it. Top pair heads up is a very strong hand. And we just raisey. Getting great odds here, like whatever. We'll call down. I like that little min raise on the river, you know. Why not? If you can maybe get him to fold. I mean, ace high, probably not. But hey, worth a shot. Why not, right? 1 extra chip. It's always fun to see the creative stuff that people like to try to bust out heads up. But a big thing is when people are giving you such good odds with just min bets, min bets, min bets, it can be okay to call down with like one over card or like a really marginal high card hand that you think might be good, because you're just getting offered such good odds on your money, and you only have to be right like a really small percentage of the time. AA, okay. Oh, worst. Flop straight draw. Turn a flush draw and river to nothing. Maxim. No idea how to play heads up. Probably doesn't play a lot of heads up poker since he's playing free rolls with 20,000 people. How often do you actually get heads up in these situations? And that's why it's important to be prepared. Because yeah, this started out as a free roll, but you know what? You're playing for 85 bucks right now. And if you're the one who's prepared and knows how to play heads up when you're playing for the biggest pay jump in the tournament against someone who has never played heads up before, probably hasn't even played like fucking 5, 4, or 6-handed before, you're really going to be able to see your edge come to fruition. You're going to be able to realize your expectation. And that's why it's so important to be prepared, because it's not going to be all the time that you get this deep in a tournament or that you get to heads up, but you want to be able to make the most of that moment when it comes. You know what Eminem said: opportunity knocks once in a lifetime. Be ready for it. Be ready to answer that door and get that maximum boost to your bankroll. No one remembers who finished second. Who finished second in the main event in 2010, 2006? Wow. Profitable shoves, unexploitability. Lead out with a pair. Min raise. C-bet. Cool. Get a walk. Open shove. And, well, we made a profitable shove. We got unlucky that our opponent woke up with a hand, but we still have a 40% chance to win the tournament. And even if we lose, we're still going to be in there. We'll be at a 3-2 chip deficit, but that does not mean we're done. This Maxim guy seems pretty bad, and I think we'll be able to make a comeback. But we don't need to, because we managed to win this 60-40, and sometimes you win the 60-40s that count, and that's when it feels good, doesn't it? Big score. And given how Maxim was playing, you know, we had the chips and we could keep playing 60-40s over and over and over, because he was allowing his stack to get short, and then he needs to win a 60-40 to double up. Then he allows himself to get short again, and he needs to win a 60-40 to double up. Whereas we were like controlling our stack. So we only need to win. He needs to win like 3 or 4 of these to win the tournament, whereas we only need to win 1. So even if we're, you know, 40% dog to actually do it, well, he needs to win as a 60% favorite 4 times, which is like 36% chance, and then 6, that's like 6, 2/3. I'm going to calculate. It's a much smaller number. 21%. For him to win 4 60-40s in a row is going to be about a 13% chance, whereas we only need to win 1 40-60, 40% chance. So, you know, yeah, sometimes you got to suck out, but that's just part of tournament poker. And it's the most fun part of tournament poker, isn't it? So that leaves us with 30 million chips, $253.87 go into the bankroll. Just pull that over one more time for you guys. That's a free roll. Buy-in, nothing. Prize, $253. Congratulations to TemplarArt from Romania on being the last man standing. And thank you so much for sending in your hand history for us to review. I hope that you learned some stuff from this video and got some good feedback on your play. I really look forward to seeing your comments and understanding, you know, your thought process behind a lot of the spots, because it's always so cool to find out how other people think, why people do what they do, learning about it and trying to apply it to your game to make your game that much stronger. Okay, so I'll remind anyone who's really serious about their game and wants to get good at MTTs, I'd recommend checking out my MTT strategy guide, 10-part series. Take a couple hours, change your life. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And anyone who, you know, wants to improve their game as well, please subscribe to the channel. You're going to find we got great videos coming out every week covering cash games, tournaments, mindset stuff, whatever you need we're producing that content so that you can succeed and be the best poker player that you want to be. And if you have results where you crush tournaments, if you got any first place finishes you're interested in having them reviewed, you can send me an email to evan@grips.com. I can't promise that yours will get reviewed, but I'll try my best to get out as many of these as possible to really help you guys take your game to the next level. I hope that you took something from this video that you can apply to your game, start to see those results improve, and I hope to hear from you in the comments and maybe in the videos and maybe see you on the tables. This has been Evan for Grips.com. Take that goodness and go out there and get stacking.